All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started and just start on all of the NAEOP forward stuff. So if you do not know who I am, my name is Matt Bezick. I work for the Oregon Trail Association as the executive director. And my role with NAEOP is I'm like the tech and communications chair, it's just a non-voting appointed role on the board who updates the website and kind of helps with all things technology. Um, and I wanted to take a moment to just show folks all of resources that are available, at least on the NAEOP side first. So naeptrio.org is the name of the website. This front page is meant to just be a variety of just posts, nothing too essential on here, but anything new will just kind of default to the top. If you are a Trio member, NAP member out here, I'm trying to just really hone in on the stuff that you would benefit from or benefit from knowing about. So under the about section itself, like there is constitution bylaws, a lot of rules around that. But more than anything, I think it's helpful to kind of know about the NAP board of directors. If you want to know who serves on the board, what their contact information is, you can find that information just on here, as well as all of the kind of Google accounts associated with each role. So that is helpful. I also think it's good to know that there's a bunch of videos we've put in this about NAEOP section. So this first one is it's a little more long form, but it is like a 10-minute video telling the entire history of NAEOP told through a lot of the former leaders of the organization. This is a video that was put together by an Eli group. I'll get to Eli here in a minute, but and if you scroll down, there's actually some links on here to the initial speech that President Johnson gave back in 1964 that highlights it's kind of the founding speech that indicates education should be a priority for the federal government. And the creation of the U.S. Department of Education came out of this. All the TRIO programs kind of came out of this initial speech. So we have that linked here. And then there's a couple of other keynotes that were recorded that we have on here. So this first one is from I think early 2000s. That was Oscar Hernandez, who kind of talks about the founding of NAEOP and how the entire region came to be. And then Arnold Mitchum, who is the founding president of COE, COE, the Council for Opportunity in Education, that's the national TRIO organization. He presented, I want to say in the middle of the teens or late 20 teens, also talking about kind of the origins of COE, the origins of NAEOP. So this stuff can be helpful because if you have some new staff or you have folks you just kind of want to onboard them a little more just around the history of our region and of Trio kind of in this area, these videos are really great resources and tools to just have them watch that on their own. So that way they can have just a better understanding of what our history looks like. As far as some of these other tabs. So membership. Right now, we are taking nominations for board members. Right now, it's president-elect, treasurer, alumni partner, but every year there's an opportunity to join the board. So you always find those forms on there. It's also to understand that every program, they would love for you to pay to be an actual NAEOP member and benefit from all the things that come with that. There is, I want to say somewhere on here, a form that actually walks you through based on, what most folks is going to be an organization. So depending on your actual size, how many employees you have, you can go through the process of submitting a form for them to invoice you in your program to actually become a member. It's also important if you wish to join the NAEOP listserv, right? It's just one big email list. So if you have job postings, events, conferences that you want to do, and you want to advertise it out to the entire region and not just your state, even if you're an individual program, if you just have questions and you want to ask other directors, other staff, joining the NAEOP listserv can be a really good way to do that. Just one single email group. You can see that this is the email. Once you're in the group, when you fill out this form, I get an email as the chair and I just manually add you to this. And then you use this email address and it sends it to all 450 something Trio employees that are on that list. So if you are not on there yet, this can be a good way to make sure you or any new staff get added. There's just a link right on there. And then this other stuff are just reimbursements should you be affiliated with NAEOP and need to fill out that form. The other pieces I'm going to cover here, Eli, that is the Emerging Leader Institute events. This is mostly just the annual conference that NAEOP does in the fall, as well as information on the COE policy seminar. There's a Friends of NAEOP and then peer review. So those are kind of the next pieces I'm hitting. In general, Eli is an Emerging Leader Institute. About 2 individuals from each state kind of join this cohort. It's a training program, help to kind of bring up younger, motivated leaders, get them connected with some other folks in the region. So there's information on what exactly Eli is on here, a bunch of FAQs, as well as an actual application form. I don't believe they're accepting applications right now for like a next cohort, but if you want to learn more about the Emerging Leader Institute and kind of how to get either yourself or any staff engaged with the region, this is a good tool for that. Under events, right now you're part of like a professional development series, part of these tech talks. So you'll see 3 tabs on here. This first one, the professional development series, that is the recordings of all of these. So let's say you really wanted to learn about Canva, but you missed that call. You can just click on each of these individual links and just play the recording. Right now, we're recording this. When it's done, I upload it onto YouTube. So any of the previous professional development series is on here. So you don't always need to attend live, or let's say you have new staff or staff that have questions or want more information about each of these components. All of that lives right here on our website. The conference itself, we just opened registration, but you'll find a whole bunch of web pages and information around the upcoming conference. This coming year, it's going to be in Alaska, October 6th through 9th. For the most part, this is a lot of information. All of the registration can be done and paid for through the website using all of these links. But this is really one of the big components of what the region does, is its annual conference and bringing folks together from across states. Policy seminar. This is all going to look old because we don't have the stuff for 2025 yet, but we try to take all the information that COE puts on their page once they open it for policy seminar and just kind of put it on here. Historically as well, the states are looking for alumni representatives to go with them to DC. So what we've created here is kind of an internal application form. Now, each individual state kind of determines how they want to manage that process, but usually if the state, I know at least Idaho and Washington, they like for their alumni who are interested in going to DC to kind of apply through this link that's on here and buried underneath that policy seminar link under events. Last 2 things here. Friends of NAEOP. If you are unfamiliar with Friends of NAEOP, they are a separate nonprofit from NAEOP, and they're basically the fundraising arm. So all the fundraising that's done through the auctions that are done at the conference, as well as the actual website. So there's an online store. It's going to redirect you to a totally different website. You can buy a bunch of trio gear and swag. A lot of this stuff is allowable costs. So this represents a way to kind of support buying all this kind of stuff and having all of the proceeds go directly back to our students. So I think yesterday they just announced all of the award recipients for 2024. But if you want to learn about all of the scholarships that exist through the Friends of NAEOP, you can kind of view all of them here online. Right now, they're all closed, but historically, when you click on each one, there's information about it and an actual application to submit with your students. So NAEOP kind of, the Friends of NAEOP represents 2 separate things. There's kind of the store, the fundraising mechanism to earn the funds, and then the actual scholarship portion where our students can apply to the different scholarships. So I won't go through each one, but they kind of outline what differentiates each on those pages. And then lastly is peer review. So the peer review program is a bunch of kind of what it sounds like. It's peers, other trio directors, and professionals from the region who kind of serve on a team, and they will come to your program and do a full program review, kind of simulating what it would look like should the Department of Ed do this. They're looking for just regulatory compliance, and we'll put together this full report for improvements to your program and your institution. None of it is binding. You're not in trouble having them do this, but it's an incredible service that is pretty unique to our region to have some of our best and brightest come and review your program and give some suggestions for improvement. So Right now, there's like an inquiry form you can fill out online to indicate that you're interested, and then the peer review team will reach out to you to actually schedule kind of the next steps and do a full program review with you in your TRIO grant. Last piece, just a calendar. I'll be honest, I think there's a lot of stuff on here that is very Oregon Trio Association related. Somehow those calendars got connected, but at the bare minimum, this is meant to just be a quick view of any Zoom links that are happening, any kind of virtual sessions, as well as general information like when the NAEOP conference is happening. So we try to put all that stuff on here so there's at least some information about upcoming and future events. And that is kind of the NAEOP website quick overview. So I kind of wanted to pause before we separate out into the different states and just ask if anybody has any specific questions related to the NAEOP site or maybe any recommendations of things that they would like to see regionally.
I'm good.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, with that, there's still a whole nother process of this to be done kind of at the state level, going over some similar resources. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open up 3 different breakout rooms. So you are just going to pick the breakout room that makes sense for your states. Don't have anybody. If we have any Alaska folks on here, we don't have anybody from Alaska. I don't know that they've been actively updating it as much. They're pretty unique given how few TRIO programs that they have. But if you are from Idaho, Oregon, Washington, go ahead and just select the appropriate room. And then we'll have folks who are going to give you a breakdown in that space. So, and once you are finished, we do not need to come back to this, just kind of separating your state. And then that is going to be the end of the call.